What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the debut album by Sticky Fingaz of the rap group Onyx. Basically, this album is called Black Trash, the Autobiography of Kirk, and it came out in the spring of 2001. Now, this is a request review. I'm doing this and putting this up and within the pitch of like the normal pitches as far as what's first going to happen. This is by a YouTuber that's a viewer of mine named Rush On as far as what's first going to happen. So I want to get to this particular fair, get this one posted up. So I just did this today as of May of 2025 as far as this pitch going to happen. May 20th, May 21st as far as this fair is going to happen. But particularly, a lot of these reviews that are on the way are more stuff that I've been doing in like February and pitches like that. But I have a couple of requests to get to, so we're going to get to some of these particular type ones. But look after here. This is a pretty classic album here. Now, that the particular Rush On Cat had said that he felt like this one and the other review I'm getting ready to do were two of the most underrated albums within his opinion of some of the stuff that he had listened to. But look after it here. I would definitely say this is a classic album within the pitch. Very clever concept. I'll have this be in the format of a movie, particularly for the year 2000. This is quite original within the aspect of the impact of what I did. I definitely feel like this is a pretty noteworthy and just overall just banner type album. I mean, more or less, it's kind of like, I definitely agree with the concept of it being underrated within the pitch. I don't think this sold that high, and it didn't really have many charting singles or really any charting singles, but it's just within the pitch. I definitely feel like for the year 2000, 2001 pitches like that, this is probably like a better album than a lot of stuff that's particularly out. Now, this is back before like the D12 Devil's Night album pitches like that. This is kind of in earlier type phases. Ludacris had barely dropped albums, and like this is back when like Exhibit had just dropped the Restless album. Snoop Dogg had just dropped The Last Meal. So it's before quite a few things within the pitch. Before September 11th, some of these particular type fairs was just within the pitch. As far as saying that hip hop was noticeably different around this particular time, this is just kind of the product now. Sticky Fingaz was kind of a cat that was in the right places at the right time, not just between his Onyx rap group, but just the pitch that he had a lot of good affiliation. There's some folks on here like Raekwon is on here, Redman is on here, Eminem helps out with the hook on here. There was originally going to be Dr. Dre Beats on here, but he took a different deal as far as this pitch could happen. This is originally going to be on the Aftermath label, but I think if it had, it probably would not have came out something within that pitch. I just think within the conduct, this feels like he probably would have been more, not to say it's full bound like the quality isn't here, but it feels like he probably would have been a Bishop Lamont and like some of those type of folks, type rappers that just would have probably gotten caught up in like the after effect. Like there's another cat, Hitman, some of those type of folks that just never put out albums and pitches like that, but it's pretty banner type album with the pitch. Like I said, real clever concept, plays like a movie, even has one of those Lionsgate or one of those particular intros that you hear when you start up a DVD or Blu-ray movie, some of those type pitches. So it's just pretty dope concept to be able to get this particular fair here. Really has the concept of it. Just goes through the trials of just like this particular, really goes through the trials of this particular fanfare, just the pitch of what particularly happens with this. So it's just good type pitch. The 4 singles, 3 out of 4 of these singles I recommend with the pitch. Basically out of 16 songs in this album, I wound up recommending 13. So I'm going to give this album like a 10 out of 10 within the pitch. More, it really has the impact of just being able to say it. Now the thing about this particular album is in the casual factor. I feel like for the time, for back in the 2000, 2001 era, it has some pretty good pitches about it as far as what's first going to happen. But nowadays, I think the casual appeal behind it, I just question like the overall notoriety that it would kind of have within the pitch as far as just like the concept that Sticky Fingaz is just not really much of commonplace within the context of casual conversation. It's not a bad album, but for the most part, I did notice on Spotify that the most popular song off this album in terms of plays was the Eminem song, and it's just looking within the pitch. Not to say on top of that, but I just look after it here, just being able to suppose. Like I'm saying, it's not a bad album, it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying that just the casual kind of consumption, Sticky Fingaz just did not drop that many albums, and kind of just was more a product of like, probably like the early and mid 90s and very early 2000s as far as this pitch came. But I look after a good classic here, just kind of concept disc. Seemingly, you would almost think possibly in hardcore territory, but it's just the pitch that just didn't casually catch on as much full bound, but it is good. So look after here, just be honest. So there are 4 singles off this album. Like I said, I recommend 3 out of 4 of them. The only single out of the 4 singles I don't recommend is this Baby Brother. But basically, Get It Up is a nice one here. It's like a snaring kind of night glamor. I'd have to say just a seedy kind of outing movements about this particular fair, about this. There are some moments, but this is a pretty upside down type album. I was going to say this is an upside down, but still pretty good dance hitter within the pitch. And I don't mean upside down in terms of poor quality. I mean the pitch that there's a lot of kind of janky and kind of tiltedness about this product. Just the product of like the down in the dump, some of those type of products are just going through like the foul moments as far as this pitch can happen, just having like the upside down type formats and just like pitches of, say it's kind of like having some bad hair days, just worse within the pitch. I mean, the particular concept about this particular album is the Kirk Jones cat on this album, the main character of this album, and the pitch behind it has felonies that are committed within this. So it's just the product of getting. This really does feel like an action-packed type movie. This would have been a pretty good type pitch to have gotten as like a particular movie. I think it probably would have been a pretty dope concept to have seen around that particular time, even if it would have been like an independent movie, something like that. I mean, the way the album plays out is pretty. It's definitely pretty excellent appeal to get this particular flair as to how it happens. But it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying it makes you want like an actual movie just to see the scenes play out as to what would have particularly happened with it. But Get It Up is just one of those type moments. I mean, to say within the context of the movie, like as the particular main character goes through the trials, it seems like at the beginning he's just kind of a two-bit or just kind of usual crook that just gets caught up with his friends, goes through the court system, and then eventually, like, I want to say, I don't know if he becomes like a rapper or something like that. I didn't pay like, by the book, full bound attention, just full bound as far as paying attention. I wanted to see if this particular album was like, dope as hell, more so than the full bound pitch of it. But I do feel like the concept, I did notice that there were some dance club kind of moments. So something within he gets into like the nightlife scene towards the end of the movie or the album as far as this pitch going to happen. It just becomes the pitch that kind of becomes the product of it. So it's just the pitch as far as saying, he goes through some slummish type moments, and there's some makeshift on here as far as what's first gonna happen. Goes through the makeshift type fare, like the product of this, like day products, gets his life back together, pitches like that, and then eventually gets in the night scene as far as those pitches gonna happen. That's the product of how that kind of ends. The Get It Up song is, despite the fact that this is a lead single, this is actually towards the end of the movie and the album as far as what's first gonna happen. This is one of the last songs you hear on here, and yeah, mine is licking off in hip hop, and then Wonderful World. But I look after licking off in hip hop felt more of like a kind of like credits type thing that you would have heard just as the last bit kind of goes. Then you just wave farewell to it, and then you look after like Wonderful World is just kind of like the denouement and just kind of the after effects of just reflecting some of those type pitches that you get like at that monologue towards the very end of the movie or something like that. But look after here, just being able to say, but it just has the real snaring type production on there as far as this pitch gonna happen. This real kind of just sparkly and kind of a dark type sense with the aspect of it. Just reminds us something that more. I mean, this Sticky Fingaz cat is an East Coast type cat. He's basically in a lot of senses I would feel like the Black Eminem. If you take like Slim Shady from the Eminem, if you take the Eminem Slim Shady days like 1999, early 2000s, some of those type pitches, and like Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP. Sticky Fingaz, at least in this Kirk Jones particular album here, is more like Slim Shady from like 1999, just the black version of that, just from the pitch. It just has the format, just getting that same particular kind of schizophreniticness. So it's just kind of the format of it. Very much a loose cannon like Slim Shady and folks like Old Dirty Bastards, some of those particular type folks with the pitch behind it. I mean, if you pay attention to like Sticky Fingaz' verse on like the Eminem album, Marshall Mathers LP, he was pretty pop off kind of crazy on there. So it's just in the pitch as far as saying, but yeah, look after it. Come On is the second single. It's like a glittery kind of evening sludge kind of get here. Just a round of card games, I'd say, with your pals. Some pitches like that. Poker, spades, some of that particular type. Fair, blackjack, some of those type pitches. Just being able to say beers, definitely to have around pitches like that. Just kind of Wu-Tang kind of hotbox vibes that I have to say about it here. PlayStation a little bit. Pitches like that in like a small sense. Just kind of local type jive as far as those pitches can happen. It's more around the neighborhood type crawls of it. So this album kind of blends in between like neighborhood type fare with the, I mean, it's kind of city, but it's also kind of residential within the fare. It just typical kind of dredge about it. Just has the aspect of just getting towards some of those type moments. Just the after effect of this kind of within residential crawls. It's not as full bound, as committed to like the aspect of Taco Bell runs and just the typical kind of lazy commerce. I mean, the factoid about it is the Kirk Jones cat is just more kind of unstable within the pitch behind. So it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying just the product of wanting to get to the top and kind of have like some different, really have the aspect of sitting on a bounty as far as this pitch happens. It's just the product of just making money moves, pitches like that. But Come On, it's just a good hangout type song. Ghetto is the good third single. It's a nice one here. It's like a typical kind of neighborhood late day dredge, kind of get within the aspects of it. Just a slummish kind of traffic, kind of map out drops, pitches like that with your pals. Grab some food, pitches like that as far as what's first gonna happen. Just kind of in between type moments, just the aspect of like the fare of it. Just don't say within the aspect of it, just the typical day slime with like the pitch. I mean, it has makeshift moments within the pitch behind it. But it's just kind of the aspect of just this more kind of, it's not so much upside down, but it just is kind of more kind of just like the frustration of it more so than within the pitch. It's not your typical kind of blue collar makeshift type pep within the aspect as far as saying it's kind of a chipper move along within pitches like that. It's this kind of concept as far as saying not so much flipping birds full bound, but just within the pitch. Like, damn, that particular car in front of me really pissed me off. Some pitches like that. You just had to say, I'm just, like, damn, that particular person in front of me is kind of a jackass. Some of those type pitches. It's kind of the product of just being like, just more aggy than normal. It's just a little bit uncentered within the pitch behind. I look within the aspect, but just not so much ghetto. This is more of like a malaise type song, just kind of drudgy within the frustrations of it. But it's just kind of the product of this, you get towards it as far as this first kind. But I do like the product of just the makeshift push. It's just excellent classic here within these pitches. Definitely recommend this song. It's kind of some good dredge to be able to have for like that particular fair, just mapping out drops. Definitely good for mapping out drops, some of those type pitches, get some Burger King, some of those type fairs, I would say. But yeah, Baby Brothers, the fourth single. Don't recommend this one. This is just kind of one getting back up on his feet. I want to say that either Kirk Jones goes to prison throughout the course of this movie / album, or it's just the pitch that he goes through the litigation as far as those pitches kind of happens. It's kind of the product of this. It's kind of the product of talking with one of his brothers, some of those type fairs. Just the pitch of like, getting centered after like the product of like the foulness that kind of particularly happened. But I just didn't like the production fair. That particular one was just not as apple within the pitch behind it. Just kind of like the optimism in that particular song was just more cajoling within the aspect than what I particularly enjoyed with this. So I just didn't appreciate that one as much. Not enough to slash the score from getting a 10 out of 10 was just from the pitch. So basically the other three songs I don't recommend on here, or the other two songs I don't recommend on here, would just be Wonderful World and then Sister I'm Sorry, which Sister I'm Sorry is just another personal type one that just didn't have as much connect with it as far as those full bound kind of moments kind of go. Just look after it. It's just kind of more atonement within the pitch behind it, kind of similar to Baby Brothers, some of those type pitches. It's kind of a different side of the coin as far as most of this album's pretty much within the grime and grit of just like East Coast kind of city hop kind of turn up within the pitch, and just the in-between weaving, basically like a Wu-Tang kind of movie, I'd have to say. If Wu-Tang Clan, one of the individual members, were to do a movie, something like that, it's kind of the pitch what you get here. But Sister I'm Sorry was just the other side of the coin, just didn't have the aspect behind it. And then Wonderful World, I did like the concept about this particular song as far as being like the atonement and just the after product after it's done, just to reflect and just like the kind of aftermath of some of those type pitches, but it just didn't pull out the vibe within the pitches as to how the format kind of went. I don't know, just a little bit too much within the preach type aspect behind it. It's not like it was preach in terms of being foul. It was just kind of pitch. I don't know. It just didn't connect quite as full bound well as I would have wanted with it. But other than that, this album gets a 10 out of 10. This is what I'd say. So go down the list of these songs here. Basically, a real nice one that really has some affability towards it. It's a real pretty thorough type one on here. Is Oh My God. It's like an upside down, kind of down on your luck sludge kind of get within the aspect here. Just some drunken stupor about this one. One of his homies particularly dies on this particular album / movie, and it's just kind of the pitch that it is kind of Kirk Jones's fault within the pitch because he's frenetic and kind of unstable. He kind of goes into like a drunken stupor, and it's just really within the aspect of the torment behind it. This really harnesses pain rather well, I'd have to say about this song. So it's just the pitch of one of those type ones. You're feeling upside down just within the pitches, like feeling upside down within pitches like that. Just got fired from a job, some of those type pitches. You just have to look after here. It just has a good aspect of just like the actual product of something that you would probably feel within the aspect of just having like torment and some of those type of particular pairs. So it's a good type pitch for that. State versus Kirk Jones is a good combination with that. This goes along with like the movie type flair as to how that particularly happens. So it's just this real excellent type one. This has multiple verses from folks. Redman is on here. Raw Digga is on here, which I want to say Raw Digga is part of Busta Rhymes' group. I forget what it's called, but pitches like that. Cannabis is on here. Some of these type folks. So some good lyricists are on here. But yeah, it's like a clever courthouse concept, but I had to say within the product after like the fact of one of his homies dying. It's like a dark and morose horror flavor about this particular beat. Real actually probably one of the best on the album, I'd have to say. Very swamped just within the pitch. Really harnesses like that terror as far as the aspect of some of that particular type of feel. So it's just the pitch as far as saying this really nails like the horrorcore type aspect without talking about like eating your heart, and without talking about eating your heart and getting chopped up as far as this pitch can happen. This Brother Lynch type vibes without like the usual kind of morose factor of Brother Lynch. So this is good type pitch of bringing it from a different aspect, but it really nails the appeal. Cheating is a pretty quality one as well. Definitely like the appeal. This one is just within the pitch. This has more of that upside down type pitch. Like I said, there's a number. Like the Kirk Jones character goes through a lot of mishaps within this particular album. So it's kind of the pitch that his whole life, pretty much, the autobiography of it is just a lot of torment, just the aspect to like the particular tone of dislike, how much kind of this swampness and this kind of overall morose and morbidness kind of happens within the pitch behind it. But cheating is like the product of the Bella in his life that, within the concept of the song is in the being sleazy pitches like that. Is some dance club sleaze kind of get here to social, but kind of upside down and tainted. I'd have to say about the particular jive about this particular song within the pitch, kind of where you're going out and stepping out, but you're just preoccupied, kind of in a swamp type mode within the pitch as far as those formats kind of happen. So it's just the pitch of trying to be social, some of those type pitches, but just kind of within more aspect of just mind in a different place from where you put your body as far as those particular kind of goes. So just the aspect as far as saying is the product of just having spots of just going out but just not being with it as far as this pitch can happen. So just good type tone. The most popular song off this album is What If I Was White. This has Eminem on the hook. I was reading about this album on Wikipedia, and it basically said that Eminem was supposed to drop a verse on this particular song but refused to for whatever reason, which is unfortunate. And before that, Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit was supposed to be on this song. I think I probably would have liked Eminem on this song more so than Fred Durst. I don't think Fred Durst would have possibly fit the product of this particular album. I think he probably, he had the crazy type factor. It feels like Eminem probably would have been more fitting for this particular thing. I think he probably could have played it as like a decent homie that could have had like, I definitely think the sarcasm was Slim Shady, especially when he was amidst like his Marshall Mathers LP type era, probably would have been the perfect fit for this album. If that had happened, I guarantee this album probably would have went at least one or two or maybe even 3 times platinum, something like that. I think that probably would have been an excellent type product, just getting prime era Eminem when he was off of his Kill You and Kim and Remember Me type days, like his and drug ballad type days of just like the particular sheer kind of craziness when he was going diamond and pitches like that. Probably would have been a real vicious type aspect, but he's at least on the hook. But Sticky Fingaz handles this pretty well. They probably would have bounced off this song pretty well, but it's just in the pitch as far as saying, I think Eminem probably would have been a pretty good homie on this particular song, but it's just the pitch, just like some in-between kind of spare thoughts kind of get here, just the neighborhood commerce, I definitely say about this one, just kind of some day shift paranoia within the pitch, just looking after it, and the after effect of this, maybe getting like a frozen burrito, some of those type pitches, but just the product just being like, fuck, I wonder what would happen if I was thinking this way, some of those type pitches, just kind of having this extra thoughts just within the concept of it. It's not necessarily on like the usual train track of like the consistent go around as far as this pitch can happen, but just kind of like just more what if kind of pitches just within the aspect of some of that particular affair, just more not so much a fantasy type song, but just the pitch of just having mind wander as far as this pitch can happen, just in the aspects of good type tone. Do you like the product of it? And song Y is a nice one. Now this has some folks on here. This kind of goes between Still Livin' and X1, so it's just the pitch as far as saying one of these particular rappers is the homie on the song that winds up dying. And it's not like they died in real life, it's just the pitch in terms of the movie, that's what particularly happened. But Y is like a typical kind of slummish day commute to kind of get with the aspect here, just homies work a day. I feel like within the pitch, just you and your pals driving around some of those particular type fares, just Burger King, grabbing some Burger King pitches like that, getting some good cheeseburgers, some of those type fares, Tokes, fries, some of those type pitches. And by Tokes, some smokers in the whip, just good type aspect, getting some swishers going, hot box, some of those particular type fares, just the day product, just kind of getting along some as far as those pitches can happen. So at least the beginning of the song just has the particular format of just like typical day fare, but as it progresses, as you pay more attention to the concept of the movie that's going along with this album, it kind of becomes a lot more craze factor. But the initial type moments within this are just typical slummish type fashion. That's how, within the concept of this having, this album, despite the fact that it plays out with like a movie, does have the product of at least having like, this album, despite the fact of playing out like a movie, does have the moments of being within the concept for folks that are just jumping into like particular songs and don't know the concept of the album's theme, just have the pitch as far as saying that it does have the moments as far as being catching. It's not like you have to listen to this album from the first song to the last song to understand the pitch behind it. It may zone out into pitches that you may not understand if you don't know the album. It's just from the pitch that some of these ones on here, basically Y is just like a good just drive around type song, getting Burger King, some of those type moments. Cheating's just a good dance club song. State vs. Kirk Jones is just a good horrorcore type pitch with the courthouse vibe. Oh my god, it's just kind of an upside down type pitch. So it's just the moments here, some of these type ones. But yeah, What You Want is a nice one as far as those pitches gonna happen. This is a good dance club song. It's like some evening pep to kind of get within the aspects here, just feeling rowdy, some feeling rowdy kind of spice gonna have with the aspects of it. Just initial kind of dance club punch it had to say, kind of some get crunk kind of jive as far as those aspects can go. So this is just a nice one. This just more kind of has amidst like the particular format of it. This is kind of the concept of this having, I wasn't sure where this particular played in with like the movie type fare of how this movie played out, but I think this is just the pitch. This song comes after Cheating, so it just feels like it's kind of on the pitch of just getting back to the nightclub scene, getting back to your money as far as this pitch can happen. That's what I would guess would kind of go along with it. But I look within the aspect here, just some good type tones. Not Dying is a quality one. I like this particular one. This is just kind of amidst. This is another one of those makeshift ones like Y and Ghetto, some of those type pitches. This is amidst like the makeshift city traffic. I'd have to say here, just frenetic and schizo kind of day fair frustration as far as those fairs going to go. It's kind of the pitch as far as that particular kind of happens. So just kind of fed with like the concept of like the usual day push, some of those type formats. Kind of just the typical kind of clock into work, clock out, some of those type pitches, just kind of car weaving pitches like that. Just the aspect of maybe just a little bit fed with like the aspects as far as those fairs going to happen. It's just your typical kind of routine type song within the pitch behind, but it just kind of does it in like a schizo, kind of Slim Shady and Old Dirty Bastard type format within the pitch behind as far as those fairs going to happen. So a good type fair. Trying to think of other songs I haven't talked about on here. Basically, Money Talks is a quality one. Some of these other type ones are just some night type fairs. So to get to some of these, Money Talks like a contemplative kind of city weaving, kind of get within the aspects here, just extra thoughts, kind of smoke a couple. I feel like within the tone behind it, good song to pay bills to and kind of have a trek as far as those fairs going to happen. So just kind of after effect of big city, kind of move around as far as those pitches can happen. Good song to get like Taco Bell runs, kind of going within some of those type pitches. Just the product of just paying bills, hitting up like a mailbox, some of those type pitches, just getting stands, some of those type formats, just like night weaving, some of that type fair. Just kind of get like some swishers, some of those type pitches. A little bit actually more centered within the pitch, but it's kind of another one for the song's actually a little bit more centered than like a good chorus of the particular album. It's just a good song to make money moves as far as those pitches can happen and figure out what's going to happen as far as those pitches can go. Just good song for like some good contemplative kind of tracks, some of that type format. That kind of goes along with My Dogs Is My Gun. So this has a homie on here as far as those fairs going to happen. This has Black Child on here, or I guess it Black Child's on the hook off this particular song. So My Dogs Is My Guns, like a night weaving kind of leery amidst like the fog a bit. I'd have to say within the pitch of it. Just smoke a joint, definitely I'd have to say here, just feeling tainted within the pitch. This is kind of the format. It's kind of an introduction within a minor type sense, apart from kind of an introduction to the way Kirk Jones lives as far as like the format of like the movie slash album, as far as those formats kind of happen. Just typical kind of night products, just usual kind of Wu-Tang type aspects within the pitch of just like in and out type fare within just more rugged and just kind of more night weavings within an urban and outing type sense within the pitch behind it. So just the typical pitch, just like I said, when this feels like a Wu-Tang type movie, is kind of within the format of it, just the particular product, just kind of, some of these songs kind of have that CD aspect, just kind of, this particular song is more leery than the aspect of it, just kind of the concept, like I said, the product of this album being upside down is just kind of within the pitch. It just feels not so much, it's not like sketch in terms of concept, like this particular album just feels really schizo within the pitch behind it. If Old Dirty Bastard were to do like a movie type album within the format of what he particularly did, I would say this would be the product of what would probably happen. It's the product of just more loose cannon type fashion with the aspect of this getting towards like the typical crawl of like a makeshift type fashion. So it just does that with an aspect of it. Then licking off and hip hop's the quality one. So this last one on here to get to as far as those first gonna happen. It's like a typical kind of night product. I'd have to say here, just some dance loud peck. I'd have to say pretty factory, but just a slamming time as far as this pitch gonna go. So it's just an aspect as far as saying this particular product, like the consistent fare of it. Just kind of, this is the last song you hear minus Wonderful World as far as this pitch gonna have. So it's just the product just getting to like the night scene and just having some kickoff within those formats as far as those pitches gonna happen. It's back to basics, like within the pitch. Doesn't say within the full, like, I don't know within the full bound type pitch if Kirk Jones slash Sticky Fingaz got his life together by the end of this particular song within the fair behind him. But this kind of has the typical format of this, doing it, and just being within the pitch and getting towards the money and pitches like that as far as those fairs gonna have. So it's just kind of good song to chunk up the deuce to and just be like, hell yeah, just getting towards it as far as those fairs gonna happen. But I look after here just in the pitch, so it's good type product here just in the aspect of it. I just want to say, so classic album within the impacts, a 10 out of 10 score. The social score I'll go ahead and give. I'd probably say I'll give the social score like a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, it definitely has the social moments on here. Like I said, for folks not paying attention, like the concept of how the movie plays out and the album plays out, I look within the pitch, there are some immediate moments on here. I do feel like some of these type ones, like the dance club songs, Get It Up, What You Want, Cheating, Licking Off, and Hip Hop, some of these type of ones. Some of these particular type formats are pretty catchy. What If I Was White? It's kind of a misnomer just because I think some folks might think, oh, Eminem's on here and think he's going to be on here, but he really just helps out with background vocals, kind of similar to what he does with Royce da 5'9" in his early days. It's just in the pitch. I feel like that's at least a good song. Was just the pitch that may be kind of like that particular song may be kind of underwhelming, but it's not a bad song. The state verse Kirk Jones is real clever type concept within some horrorcore type sense, despite not being horrorcore. It's good type aspect. Oh my God, it's a really twisted and upside down type one. Really enjoyed that particular one. There's just some night weaving type ones like Money Talks and My Dogs is My Gun, some of those type pitches. So it has the fun factor on here. It's this kind of concept. It's just in more hardcore type territory. Doesn't really have any charting or casual singles. Doesn't really have any charting or casual singles within those formats. But most of the singles are pretty damn good within pitch. So it just has that particular flavor. But it's just the aspect as far as saying it just is not as much within like a typical type format of like commercial kind of consumption, but it's good. It's just the pitch. I feel like for a banner type album, it's like a good alternative to Eminem as far as this pitch can happen, considering that he does have mild Eminem affiliation. This is a good product for something I would probably recommend. Maybe not so much in a secondary sense. I'd probably recommend secondarily after Eminem to go to like, obviously Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Exhibit, but probably in a tertiary type sense, I'd probably say a good product of a cousin of some of that particular style that is similar to Eminem, same sort of lyricism within those pitches, good type product, and definitely a banner type album in terms of what was out in like the first few years of the 2000s. I'd definitely say this is a classic here within those pitches. So I'd say, yeah, this is definitely a good cousin. That definitely has the aspect, has some quality. So it's just the pitch. The 9.5 social. In terms of the future, like Sticky Fingers has not dropped an album since 2003 or so within those pitches. He kind of was a part of the rap group like Onyx, like I was saying, within some of those type formats, but I don't know what happened with that particular group. It's just kind of the pitch as far as saying, so this is just a choir type project, but it has the aspect here. This has some banner type stuff, really plays out. This is pretty excellent type movie, I'd say, within the pitch. This would have made for like a good just DVD type pitch, probably would have had some good sales in like the DVD type format. Seems kind of too late to do it now, but definitely has the impact of just being able to do it. So classic within the impact of it, underappreciated classic, but still a pitch in more hardcore type territory, but it nails these bounds. Just very clever, has some fun moments on here. The makeshift, the turn up, all those particular moments really play off real well, rather well.